Well, well, well. I mean, come on, man. Bitcoin's not done anything. Let's be honest now. You got CPI data coming out tomorrow. The markets are a little bit on edge about what's going to happen. But as I said before, the Fed's already given people the idea that the CPI result might not really be relevant, given that they are actually looking like it's going to come up. Core price index is what they're looking for. But everyone's betting on a rate cut of 25 basis points. That's it. But we've had some good news in crypto. Seems like we've got a new token in town. Ripple, huh? XRP pulling some nice little flavor. We'll be talking about that very shortly. And I think we should all boycott Microsoft. I begrudge even using this computer right now. We're going to talk about this rejection. Bitcoin's been rejected too many times, guys. This ain't nothing new. There's more. There are other people that are buying Bitcoin. Don't worry. And even if Microsoft were going to buy Bitcoin, how much would they be buying? They'll be like, let's do what BlackRock does and use the stationary fund to buy the Bitcoin. Telling you, man. But then everyone comes out with the idea, well, I'll see you at 1 million when Microsoft is buying Bitcoin. I mean, you got Eric Trump coming around saying that he favors Bitcoin to $1 million. It's going to go there and he'll see you guys there. So it's looking good. But in other news, man, I mean, we got some flavor to talk about. So welcome to tonight's live stream, ladies and gentlemen. It's a little bit early. I want to do the lives early because it's really late. It's not late. It's just my brain is fried, you know? So any other questions before we get started? Not that I asked you if you had any questions in the first place. Tino, please review Ethereum charts, man. Thank you. No problem. I actually just recorded some live trading on Ethereum. I've uploaded it to the Platinum, guys. I'll show you that very, very shortly. But yeah, we're going to break it all down and understand what this actually means, that Microsoft have effectively rejected, or shareholders have voted that they've rejected buying Bitcoin. Maybe they've rejected it now. Maybe it's a bit expensive. Maybe Bitcoin's going to be cheaper. Who knows? But you don't think these corporations are in bed with each other? BlackRock. Let's get with the program, gang. Here we go. So, yeah, traders are holding their breath. They really are trying to work out what's going to happen next with regards to the inflation data. And we go into the calendar and we've got it all happening. So we're going to be getting the core CPI reading tomorrow, which is the main gauge that the Federal Reserve uses to determine where we are with inflation. If that comes in anything above 0.3%, we've got problems, and we really do. That means inflation's popped its head back up again, which would explain why bonds are starting to make a little bit of a flavorsome move. Don't worry about Bitcoin, it's all good. The bonds, they seem to be ranging out. And the problem that I've got with the bonds as of late, guys, is it's too volatile. I mean, this is just wild in terms of the bonds market. You want trending bonds. You want people with the fixation of locking in yield. That means whatever the rate return is on a 2-year bond or on a 10-year bond, okay, you really want to see the market trading that logic and getting involved in that. And then you see the bonds moving up and then the yields coming down. And when they're taking that risk off because they want to come away from low risk environment, they want to go into a high risk environment. Naturally, they're going to take that liquidity off, or some of it going to tech stocks and what have you, and they just start playing the board. Okay, so it's a very interesting one to see how, I mean, if we look at the volatility index, this could be getting primed for surprise reading tomorrow. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see that we have seen some surprise readings come out. Okay, now, one thing that has come into action is the fact that oil's price has been doing very well in reference to inflation. You've got to remember, there are more people in work right now. The unemployment rate is its lowest in how many, God knows, 50 years, okay? With oil's price trading low, that tells you that inflation itself is going to be okay. It's deemed as a trigger of making life difficult in terms of the core price index and the year-on-year inflation. So in other words, if oil's price is rising, that can have an impact on inflation, even though the readings that we get regarding inflation exclude food and energy because they're so volatile. But what they do, or what it does, is it impacts the way people live. So if the cost of oil is going up and the cost of fuel is rising, That's going to be putting strains on companies doing transportation. That's going to put strains on people actually getting to work. And then there's a ripple effect on the back of that, because companies will then have to charge more to deliver produce and products because of the cost of oil. Now, that cost doesn't get factored into the CPI as a direct representation of inflation. It's just the result of that leads to the CPI going up. Okay. So it's good that oil's price has been trading lower. So we don't need to worry about that. What I think could be happening with the US is maybe wage inflation, because average hourly earnings have been going up. And this is the reason why Japan wants to try and cut the interest, well, increase the interest rates, because there's a sort of an inflation going off with the wages. So that's going to be something we'll talk about as we get close towards the Bank of Japan's announcement when it comes to their actual press conference on the 19th of December. Now, something interesting is coming over into the game of cryptocurrency. I just want to talk about it right now. Ripple, huh? Told you, man. This is the next stage for it, all right? So it's now secured this New York approval. That's great news. We go over to XRP and have a look at that, and you can see XRP. It's been doing great. This candle has now made the nice little recovery. It doesn't even look like it wants to stop. It's just doing a nice little rally to the upside right now. So there's a lot of heat right now with XRP. A lot of people are getting into it right now. And this could lead to a bit of a problem because, you know, we've had the news about the approval. So this will be the effect of that. And then we'll get Asia tonight responding to that. And then we'll see XRP try and claim the $3 mark. People are adamant that XRP will not go above $3. So I won't speak about it again until it hits $3. So there's your TA. It's pretty much doing all right. We got red vector candles coming into play at the $2.84. If this narrative continues and everyone's excited about this stablecoin story, then naturally XRP's price will want to try and gravitate and get on SpaceX rocket ship and go somewhere that defies the laws of gravity. It's going up. Just be careful of this green vector candle. I don't trust it. So with that being said, going into other news, this is interesting. According to Bitcoin Archive, MicroStrategy to join NASDAQ. Ooh. This is important. The ideal scenario is to be part of the S&P, okay? But the problem with MicroStrategy is its profit margins. Dead. This company's profit margins are absolutely terrible. Now, for anybody new passing through to tonight's live stream, I will explain very quickly what that means. When anyone gets into the game of stocks and shares, the first thing that you really want to be paying attention to is how is a stock performing on a quarterly basis? Courtesy of William J. O'Neill's works, the idea is that if a stock is accelerating in its earnings and sales on a quarterly basis, ideally, you want to see it quarterly earnings accelerating in threes, okay? So you want to see 3 good quarters, and then if it can continue from there, you're laughing. But you really want to see acceleration in its quarterly earnings to the sum of 3, right? So if you look down below here, you can see I've got several readings below. Top number is going to be earnings. The other one's going to be sales, okay? MicroStrategy in December 31st, 23 came out with 127% earnings, minus 6% sales. Usually it's new company and what have you. That's usually what you expect, okay? They're trying to turn over a profit, happy days. Next quarter, March 31st, 2024, you've got minus 127% on earnings, minus 5% on sales. That's fine, okay? You've seen a bit of a drawdown. You might have invested in something. Bitcoin, maybe, okay? June 30th, 2024, you've got minus 417% on earnings, minus 7% on sales. Okay. And then earnings just recently in September, you've got minus 73% on earnings, minus 10% on sales. But they hold a lot of Bitcoin. This is making investors start warming to the idea of crypto. And it's obvious that their business itself doesn't make any money to go and service the purchases of Bitcoin because they won't be offering the public convertible bonds. They won't be saying, here you go, come and buy some shares off us. Come and get involved in these convertible bonds at $377, for example. You're only going to be able to get paid on them when our price of our stock goes to $629, 0% interest and what have you. So you earn nothing for holding it, and you're just relying on Michael Saylor to say, Bitcoin to 13 million in 2049. No problem. That's the bond. Fundamentally, MicroStrategy is dog, but they hold a lot of Bitcoin. And that's appealing. The approach has got investors. The approach has got some players in Wall Street interested, like Marathon. They now hold around 45,000 Bitcoin, and they've generated a good yield return on it. That's where they're making their money. So it doesn't matter about the fundamentals. But when you're trading a stock or you're investing in a home stock, all right, a legacy stock, something like the Magnificent Seven, like Amazon, Nvidia, Meta, and any other stock out there, to all the stock guys, all right? Even in cryptocurrency, you're looking at cryptocurrency stocks. For example, let's look at Riot, cryptocurrency-based stocks on Riot platforms, right? What's their earnings like? Well, quarterly earnings, it's all right. You can see it's a little bit up and down, plus 636% on 31st of March 24, plus 8% on sales. Saw a little bit of a drawdown in the June 30th, 2024 quarter. All right, minus 88 earnings and minus 9% in sales. But then going into the quarter end September 2024, you got minus 23% in earnings and plus 63% in sales. So when these start to really work in their favor, then you're naturally going to see their earnings and sales effectively increase and show acceleration. That's when you get involved in a stock, okay? Right now, stocks across the board are so overvalued, but they're projecting them to keep on going up. Going over into the NASDAQ quickly, we can see NASDAQ has taken a little bit of a tumble to the downside. We did see a nice little recovery of the red vector, and then they just brought it straight back down again. And you're going to get this sort of behavior, especially with the CPI. I do believe that once CPI is out the window, we're going to then see exactly where they are planning on sending assets across the board, okay? Now, going into cryptocurrency, we've got Bitcoin making a nice little reversal to the upside. I did take this trade earlier on. Every 4 years is the same cycle. It probably will be, my friend, and we hope that that is the case. As long as these dudes don't have an impact on the marketplace, because you're not considering your 4-year cycle to include BlackRock. This is why the problem with the 4-year cycle right now for me is, wait a second, Bitcoin hasn't considered BlackRock and the ETFs. Where is it? Come on. Where are you? Where is my ETF story? View all Arkham dashboards, all results. Why doesn't this work? Spot ETF, where is it? Here we go. I don't understand it. Dashboard, Arkham. Where's my... I don't get it. What's going on here? My ETF, I don't know where it goes. Like this winds me up about this platform. It disappears all the time. ETF, where is it? Oh, crap. Anyways, never mind. I want to find it. I want to know my balances. Where is it? BlackRock, it's just not there. Arkham, what's going on, man? What have you done? Don't want a market overview. Explore dashboards. My dashboards, save dashboards. Never mind, never mind, never mind. It's just not there, guys. So we're not meant to see the BlackRock story. You usually come. Anyways, never mind. So going into other news itself with this bad boy right here. Lots of liquidations have come into play. 1.5 billion. Pay yourself. Okay. More importantly, these dudes, Microsoft, they reject it. That is just absolutely wild that they've rejected it. It says here, Microsoft shareholders have voted against the proposal that sought to have the tech giant add Bitcoin to its balance sheet. Now, what I understood was it was the shareholders that were calling for the board to actually do it. Now the shareholders have actually said, no, we don't. That just tells you, okay, that if you were to, tell me if you would agree with me on this one, okay? Microsoft shareholders, you know, the Magnificent Seven, okay, all the tech companies, right? I would say that if you were to present the shareholders of Nvidia, okay, the idea of buying Bitcoin, I would believe that 90% of them would say yes. If you were to present it to Google shareholders, they would probably say yes. Meta, they would all say yes. Microsoft is packed with the old school fig tree investors. Why do I say fig trees? Because they're bloody old, okay? They're the old school players. These are your Bill Gates kind of guys. You look at Bill Gates, that's your shareholder in Microsoft, all right? So I think as Microsoft sees these shareholders move away and come to the new way of thinking, then that's where the Bitcoin Treasury thing comes into play, all right? I think Saylor was wrong to pitch it to Microsoft. He pitched it to the wrong people. Even if he does look like he's of the age of the shareholders in Microsoft, I think he should have gone to another company, because even if they were to approve it, I don't think Microsoft would add that much of a balance to their a balance of Bitcoin to their balance sheets, just because of how volatile Bitcoin is. I think if you were to present it to Meta, like, happy days, that would be awesome. You know, just look at Tesla, right? Who's getting involved in Tesla? Like, it's just one of those stories right there. Okay. We got a new market maker in town for cryptocurrency, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard enough that we're getting smacked left, right, and center by these market makers all the time, considering all these liquidations that are coming into action with cryptocurrency. Where's my cryptocurrency liquidations chart? Have a look over here. There we go. So, like, we got quite a few market liquidations as it stands right now. Look, in the last 24 hours, we've got $94 million worth of longs liquidated on Bitcoin. Okay, so it's not really looking nice. Liquidated by exchanges. You had on Ethereum, there was 86 million longs getting liquidated. 7 million on Ethereum Bybit as well. So people are getting smacked. You've got to pay yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. But Goldman Sachs is starting to make way for crypto, even though he dismissed it. David Solomon stepped in and says he acknowledged crypto as an interesting technology during the Reuters Next event. And he says there are no reputational risks in them. Reputational risks. Well, if you're going to use cryptocurrency, all right, to pay some dude for some backhand jobs, then there's going to be a bit of a reputation story right there. Get into the game of market making with Bitcoin, then you're going to see all these orders coming into play. Because remember, JP Morgan in the last 20 years, okay, has been fined $40 billion by the SEC for fraudulent behavior. Goldman Sachs is going to step in right now and he's going to be like, might be able to pull some flavor here. So that's who's coming into crypto, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. We want these crooks in crypto. Yeah, we need their money, but we got to be careful that they don't take ours. And that's what this ETF story is all about, if I'm quite frank with you. So let me just explain to you my day trading today. So here is my trading day. I took the trade on Ethereum earlier on, and it was trading the logic of a vector candle recovery, but trading back into the 800 EMA because there was an imbalance there in the chart. Used a bit of leverage yet again, and we had a 3,594, and we closed off at 3631 on Ethereum. We made $2,764 on that trade. And with the trade that I did earlier on this morning, that puts us on a $7,000 gain for the day in crypto. So those two trades, keeping it nice and sweet, happy days. Saw a little bit on the fees, but this is it. When you're trading, I mean, my margins themselves, I'm using relatively small margin right there. It cost me $600, $622 margin to make $2,674, and then $920 margin there to basically make that. All right. So we had a decent day today trading cryptocurrency, and I recorded the Ethereum trade on this video right here where I took the entry and I explained the actual process where and what's going on. So I'm looking at the delta, and over here is a delta on signals chart. And that's giving me the changes in delta at a specific point in time, which is helping me understand the logic of price going back up. Because I was trading the logic of them going back up towards the 800 EMA. Now, I didn't hold until the 800 EMA, but they did go to the 800 EMA because I like to pay myself. I don't trust the way the markets move. They can mark up, then they just come straight back down. And in this video, you're actually witnessing the whole thing. I'm jumping, trying to explain to the guys that will watch the video later the understanding and the importance of these orders that are coming into play whilst I'm trading, okay? So they'll see all of that, and they'll understand how I'm using the Coinank as well, and why I was waiting and what to wait for. Because when you're watching the Coinank itself to see the limit orders that are coming in, that's all good, okay? But what you've got to be mindful of is this. When you go to the Coinank, right? Don't look at it as, okay, then maybe in front of you, You can see right now, we've got an imbalance right there, which is that green stuff. But look at what's going on here. Can you see these little orders? These are on, this is on the 5-minute time frame, of course. But you see here, there's an order there for 1.09 million, okay? I've got an order up here for 345,000 and 841,000 right there for Ethereum, right? Down here, I've got the same amount of orders, like 1.39 million on the bid side. So this is where they're buying, okay? And this is where they're selling. What I talk about in this live trading video is I'm explaining to the guys how to approach understanding whether you should stay in the trade or not if they're going to try and attack this liquidity. And that was done by understanding what's going on XO charts inside of this range. So this is the logic that I was breaking down. Just this little zone is explaining to everyone what to look for to justify the move to the upside. Okay? And that's what's in that video. So if you're not the Platinum member, go get involved in that. It's pinned to the top of the chat and you become a Platinum member and you get trade setups as well on that logic every single day with the Platinum membership. All right? So get yourself involved with that bad boy. Now, going into Bitcoin's price action. Today's been a bit of a tricky day. We've been playing around with this wick right here, guys. And to be frank with you, when we do discuss Bitcoin's price action, again, as I said to the guys, this candlestick right here has now managed to get below the 5 and 13 EMA. That is a bit of a problem for us. But this little play right here with the wick could be a sign that Bitcoin might be trying to climb up. All right, why? Well, if we go on the idea that crypto is going to continue from this point, I think that maybe that's a possibility that cryptocurrency could overall climb further from this region. All right. Bitcoin is working a specific range right now. And for a holder, this is what you're working with. You are going to be asking yourself the following questions. Am I going to be buying Bitcoin inside of this range? The longer Bitcoin's price consolidates inside of this zone, the closer the 50 EMA gets to it. All right. As price moves away from it, then the 50 EMA will continue to form this curvature to the upside. However, if they consolidate Bitcoin's price up and down to the point where the 50 EMA goes to the price, that for me is dead volatility. All right. So in other words, this sort of behavior here, we don't want to see that. We want to see Bitcoin continue with this narrative. Now, Bitcoin on the daily has not tested the 50 EMA in a very long time. Now, from this point right here, 11th of October is when they were sat at the 50 EMA. This, in principle, was the first test when it wasn't even the test, because people that use the 50 EMA are not using this cloud. These are like volatility bands, all right? So if they were waiting for the 50 EMA, they would have been waiting and they would have missed out on the move, because the blue line is the 50 EMA. The purple line is volatility bands, okay? Some of you might understand it as Bollinger Bands kind of thing, all right? But this gives us an idea of where the momentum is, all right? Now, for anybody new to the idea of using moving averages and they want to understand how to determine if price is going in one direction or not, the best way for me to simplify it to you is to do it like this. Take yourself a clock, all right? Come to your charts and draw this clock, okay? And there's your midpoint of your clock. What's the 50 EMA doing? What direction is it pointing? If it's pointing to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you've got yourself momentum to the upside, okay? If it's pointing to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, then it's got momentum to the downside. If you're at 3 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen, you don't bloody trade. It's got no momentum. So if you can identify where you are on the clock, well, we go to the daily time frame and we can see that we are currently trending upwards. That's fine. So then the logic says that in order to understand if we are in momentum to the upside with Bitcoin, then we've got these two price points that we need to pay attention to. Holders might want to accumulate inside of this zone. The more time price spends inside of this range, I would believe that there's a lot more accumulation occurring within Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is subject to a lot of changes coming up very soon. You've got the end of the year. You've also got the Bank of Japan press conference. You've got the FOMC as well. We're going into some more non-farm payrolls at the start of January, all right? As much as it's New Year's and what have you, we're going to be going into the new year with a non-farm payroll as well. We're going to be going into the new year with a new interest rate. That means there's going to be changes in the dollar and who's going to be investing in the dollar for yield. All right. That's going to determine if the euro is going to go up or down. That's going to determine if people are going to invest in the European stocks or the US stocks. You've got the stock market at all-time highs going into the year. The stock market is performing its best ever in 75. What was it? I think it's gone up in 75 years. It's done so much. Come on, man. When are they going to pull it back a little bit? There's too much value in the stock market, but investors say we don't care. We're just plowing into it all. They really don't care. And then we've got Trump. When he steps into power, we've got those tariffs. So that's going to be a bloody interesting one. All right? Any questions? Don't you think that BlackRock holds a stake in Google and they are well informed about the stage of quantum computing and they don't think that this is a threat to Bitcoin? Otherwise, they won't get a Bitcoin ETF. No. Do not confuse. No. This is what I mean about BlackRock, okay? Even if BlackRock were to know that Google has this quantum computing story, okay, BlackRock doesn't care because they're not in for crypto. They earn off everyone who buys the ETF. They're creating revenue. If I go and buy 1,000 ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs, I'm paying BlackRock revenue. What I do with my BlackRock ETF is nothing. It doesn't matter to them. As long as I'm holding it, I'm paying them. All right? 10 billion has gone into the ETF since its incision, since the start of it. Okay? That's a lot of money in earnings, revenue from people buying and selling the ETF. So whether BlackRock knows if Google knows something, I don't think they care. Their balances pretty much explain that. They don't tell people whether they should buy and sell. They are just the intermediary of it. They'll be able to pick it up on their behalf, pass it to the transfer agent, puts it into a little box. BlackRock, there you go. Any other questions? Quantum computing is the older AI. Okay. When Bitcoin when Bitcoin reserve is passed by Congress, then Bitcoin will be safe from quantum future hacking. Yes, BlackRock in for money, so am I. Yeah, I would agree with that. But it won't be subject to, you say it won't be subject to any hacking, but I think that will increase. All it takes is someone to understand what this program is, and if there's going to be a duplicate of it, something's going to happen. That's the way the internet works. And someone's going to get access to something on crypto to really to challenge that idea. It really will, you know? And if you're going to do something, you're going to wait till the US government gets a batch of Bitcoin, right? And then go and try and take the Bitcoin, you know? Because no one holds 1 million other than Satoshi, right? All right, MicroStrategy and BlackRock and all that stuff. Yeah, that's cool. But wait till the government comes in and then try it from there. Yeah, Bitcoin is software. The encryption module can easily be changed to something else. That might start a few discussions in this chat, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, give me some flavor. Tina, what about the 4-hour W formation on Dixie, bro? Dollar up, Bitcoin up still. This is because of Trump. Yeah, it looks like the Trump trade is coming into play. Because remember, the dollar is appreciated by 5%. That means I can buy more of Bitcoin off the back of a strong dollar. So if I can buy more of Bitcoin on the back of a strong dollar, that means I'm retaining dollars and I'm using dollars and I'm going to buy something else. What you got to all pay attention to, ladies and gentlemen, is that the change in what's going on right now is actively happening as we speak. Look at gold. Gold is going. It's going towards its all-time high. Like it wants to try and clear that range. Okay. And with this little move up, could be tensions overseas. We're going into the CPI. And if the CPI is no good, this is going to shoot up. It really will. CPI data has to come out not at 2.7%. We need a reading of 3%. And we need the core price to come in at like 0.5. Imagine that. I'm telling you now, I'm just throwing out thoughts right now. If core price, CPI, month on month comes in anything above 0.3%, we've got a problem. That could mean that by the time we get towards the FOMC, they might change their stance on interest rates. If they change their stance, that would be every reason for the market to drop. It really would, because they have to readjust. There's no longer an expectation of interest rates being cut. That means we're going to have higher interest rates at a different point. And that means I have to go and look for yield elsewhere because the yield on the dollar is still high. See what I mean? So it's going to be very interesting to see how the data is going to come out And if it were to come above the 0.3%, problem. If inflation year on year comes in above 2.7, goes back to 3, all of what the Fed has done has been pointless. It really has. But one of the speakers did say, we aim to get inflation down to 2% within 2 years. Bruv, man, you're at 2.7. Last reading, you're at 2.4. Oh, really? 2 years, man? It hasn't taken you 2 years to get it down that much. I mean, you were stuck at this point right here. Let's be honest now. Look at the rate readings. Look where we've been. We've just been at 3%, 3%, 3%, 3%. In 2024, January, 3.4. Then we went to 3.4. Then we went down 3. Then we went 2.9, 2.5, 2.4. 2 years left till we get to flipping 2%. Oh, come on, man. They know something. They must know something. BlackRock holding has dropped even more to 205. They're likely to continue selling to buy back again in bulk later when everyone else has sold. Legend, if we are going to face a Bitcoin shock supply, are we going to see again Bitcoin under 80K on the next bear market? There's two ways to approach this, okay? The next bear market, right? Right now, if we look at Bitcoin, it's currently at the 97,189 region. I've given you my explanation for the holders regarding these two price points. And that is, if price does break, you're going to be effectively accumulating inside of this range. If Bitcoin does break beyond the 90,000, then you might be able to get Bitcoin on a bit of a sharper discount, but you're going to be betting on the idea that it's going to come back into this range to reaccumulate. Because we know Bitcoin can accumulate, and they did that for quite some time over here on the daily time frame. Look at how long they spent here. So you've really got to say to yourself, does your portfolio, your capital allow you to experience Bitcoin to fluctuate within let's just say a $20,000 zone, roughly? That's what could happen. A $20,000 range between this point. That would then take the high, 104, go all the way down to around, let's say, you're looking at 84, from 104 to 84-ish. Yeah, something like that. $24,000, something like that, $20,000 range. If you can absorb that, okay, in your holdings, then there's no problem in Bitcoin coming down. And you've got to accept, guys, that bit. And I'm going to be straight with you all. If you don't like what I have to say, you don't have to take it as gospel. That's me being frank with you. I sit at these charts long enough, right? And I've seen the cycles go up and down. You're talking about your Bitcoin 4-year cycle. How about the stock market's 100-year cycle? Logic says that there's expansion and contraction. And now that there's a lot more institutional interest in Bitcoin, it means that you've got a 100-year-old mindset coming into crypto. It's a new market, man. You're telling me that Bitcoin's going to retain its 4-year cycle now that Wall Street's in? If we didn't have Wall Street, 4-year cycle and Bitcoin would work, in my opinion. And you can say to me, oh, this guy don't know what he's talking about. But Bitcoin hasn't sat in a legacy market. It's not really and truly experienced expansion and contraction. It hasn't. I'd say this was a contraction. This was a genuine contraction, okay? But everything dropped. Then everything came back up. So by that principle, Bitcoin will contract and then Bitcoin will expand. It's a new market. So you are going to experience this. Bitcoin hasn't got its feet wet in Wall Street. It's not become the asset where it's like, listen, go over to Bitcoin. Go over to Bitcoin. Why? We've got a war happening. There's inflation. The Fed doesn't know what it's doing. Quickly go over to Bitcoin and get me some Bitcoin ETFs. Get on that and get me some gold ETFs as well, because they're going to be doing some business on the interest rates. Looks like they're going to be cutting it. Dollar's going to be pants. I need to put my money into Bitcoin, gold, silver, whatever. Principally, Bitcoin should be acting as a commodity because it is a commodity. There's a supply. El Salvador's found quite a bit of gold. It's going to mine that. It's going to be a very wealthy country right now. So now they hold Bitcoin. Now they hold lots of gold as well. But what I'm trying to say to you is Bitcoin fundamentally, as a supply, is a commodity. There's a rarity to this, urgency to it. Yes? I mean, you have to agree because fundamentally it is. It's a commodity. 21 million. It's not even 21 million. What about the 4 million that has been lost? The 4 million that has been confiscated. Like, lost. How are you losing this shit, man? Excuse me. How are you losing it? You know? When Bitcoin starts to behave like a commodity, or should I say, when it's treated like a commodity, that's when Wall Street is going to then respect Bitcoin, because it doesn't respect Bitcoin. It doesn't. Simple as. That's why you see it shoot up. That's why you see it come straight back down. And the BlackRock sellings, that just shows you that Wall Street doesn't care about your Bitcoin philosophy or your 4-year cycle. If it cared about your 4-year cycle, do you think they'd be stuck with 500,000 Bitcoin ETFs? No, they'd be picking it up by the millions. They really would, you know? Because look, think about it. If by the logic of the 4-year cycle, Bitcoin's going to keep on going up and up and up and up, why would anyone sell it? Tell me why anyone sells Bitcoin if the 4-year cycle says that it's going to keep on going up. Please, please answer that question to me. MicroStrategy is the only one that actually endorses this idea of holding Bitcoin, but fundamentally they can't sell their Bitcoin. As much as they say they don't want to, they just can't, right? Because they've borrowed all this money out, and that means they have to pay people back, right? They don't want to do that now. That's why they're just picking it all up. That's my opinion on it all. That's the truth. And this asset, because people's concept of value changes, all right? And now you've got a lot more people in cryptocurrency welcoming Wall Street when really it's Wall Street welcoming crypto. That's going to have an impact on the 4-year cycle, in my belief, all right? Some of you might challenge it. I don't care. I really don't. Because I go by what Bitcoin's doing in terms of its price action. All right. Bitcoin right now to the value of 96,859. That's what someone is prepared to pay for it. That's why it moves up. When it comes back down again, people are getting rid of it. So their concept of value is, nope, not interested. Don't like it. I've made my money. I'm walking off. How dare you walk away and sell Bitcoin? This is the bottom, man. What are you talking about? This is the bottom. It's the crypto bros. Mad love to my crypto bros, but we need to wake up a little bit. If you're making money on Bitcoin, at least take some. Take something off the table. Because if your coin is going to last the test of time, it's going to move down. If it moves down, if it goes down to 60K, so what? Goes down to 50K, so what? Goes down to 40K, so what, man? It's $40,000. Forget what it was before. Where's the dude that's happy to buy it at 100? He ain't around no more. Why? Because it's down at 40. He got liquidated when he bought it at 100. You're not interested in that guy. You're interested in the guy that's at 40. You're interested in the guy that is at 30, because they will play the cycle over and over again. All right? No one's loyal to value. No one is loyal to value, and neither is Wall Street. That's why the markets expand, and that's why they contract. That's my belief. Capiche? I challenge you to a duel. Yes. Any questions other than that? What are your thoughts on MicroStrategy cost basis creeping up? It jumped to 60K after their last purchase. All right. And so this story of, all right, let me tell you this, right? Because most of the purchases that MicroStrategy has done, right, is effectively with borrowed money. The only issue that MicroStrategy will have is if there's an influx of investors rushing to sell their convertible bonds. Remember, the last convertible bond offering, all right, was at 0% interest, so they earn nothing on the purchase, and they don't necessarily see a return until the price of the stock gets to $629. So MicroStrategy has to double in price for them to take a profit on this convertible bond that they've invested in. So you go and give them $380, one share, for example, you give them $380. They take your $380 and go around and buy a little bit of Bitcoin. Michael Saylor goes and does a PowerPoint presentation to Microsoft using the deadest font on planet Earth. It looks so unprofessional with his orange t-shirt, whatever he was wearing, okay? And pitch it to Microsoft. It doesn't work out. They're not interested, okay? He's still going to go and buy. And then fundamentally, if Bitcoin were to drop, because what MicroStrategy has to understand is if they think that they can keep on buying it, that's fine. they were doing that without the worry of BlackRock. Okay? BlackRock can come in and buy, BlackRock can come in and sell. Now you've got another market-making dude coming in, Goldman Sachs. And they want to start getting involved. If Goldman comes in, then you're going to get Bank of America. You get Bank of America, you got the biggest crook, JP Morgan. Then Morgan Stanley comes into play. Then they're all going to have their own little pie. And they're going to be like, okay, do this, and do this. It really is. In the boardrooms of films that you watch when they have the conversations, it really is just like that. You know? Yeah, dump it. Yeah, do this. You think these guys make millions and millions and millions of dollars every single year to waste time in the boardroom chatting breeze about what they do with their investments? They say, what's the cost? How much will we make? Fine. That's why you see them on the CNBC and all the news anchors. They got the time to do it because they don't sit in the boardrooms counting whether or not they're going to bring you value. Nah. They want to know if they can make money on the end of it. How much? Yep, we'll pay for it. And that. $11 trillion later, you've got BlackRock sitting on this mountain of assets. BlackRock runs crypto. Sorry, it does. And I think that's where we should finish this live. Mad love and respect. I've just been chatting wet now. But mad love and respect. I'll be chucking. I will tune into you all tomorrow morning in the event of this CPI. All right? Take care of yourselves, gang. Mad love and respect. Peace. Like the buttons. Like the strict. Just do what you need to do. All right? Love. Peace. Mad love and respect. Peace.